I believe the first thing is choice. They've got to choose to. When I do stop smoking programs, which I started back in 1977, a person has to want to do it. And we've got to get those people to realize that there is hope. I was down in Mississippi, down in southwest in Hancock County, after Katrina, and they were devastated from it. And fire departments from all over the United States went down there to help them out. And I remember one day I was sitting there with the assistant fire chief, and I said, "Chief, have you got any health problems?" But you can tell, you can look at him, you can tell what's wrong with him. I grew up on a farm. You looked at cows, you figured out how to tell if the cow was sick or not. And he goes into syndrome X, his diabetes, his heart disease, whatever. And I said, well, that's what I do. I help it. Yes, I do firefighting to help folks, but I work in healthcare, and I help people getting a root cause of what their problems are. And your diabetes, I see over a 98% reversal rate of type 2 diabetes. I mean, it's easier to fix than toenail fungus. I see reversal of cardiovascular disease. You can do it. He says, well, what do you got to do? I said, well, I started listing things. He goes, change what I eat, get out and exercise. No, I ain't going to do that. He says, my doctor said I had Southern Mississippi syndrome. And all I have to do is take the pills he gives me, and I can eat whatever I want to. And so we've got to get the medical community to be honest. And I understand, I worked in regular health care for 20 years, and I understand, working within the standard of practice and what happens if you step outside that from a legal standpoint, as you said a few minutes ago. But we've got to have it come from the top that you're safe. You can practice lifestyle medicine and you're not going to get in trouble. And docs know. They know, but they're so scared to step out of the standard of practice. We saw that during COVID. So many docs knew, but they would tell me, well, I will lose my job. And so, first of all, we need the medical community to be honest with their patients and show them an alternative that is hopeful without having those side effects and without having those diseases, because they can reverse many, many times. I think that's so important. But I think just getting back to basics, one of the challenges I see is an entity called FDA. Now, I'm not about big government at all, but I just don't see those two together too good. Here you got the fox over the hen house. Amen. And so when you have drugs overseeing food, I think they need to be separated and put
good idea.
One of them somewhere else. And because we're very strong for 4 years. But if you don't hit a home run in 4 years, we're going to be right back at it again. And so we have to look at it as, we need to do it. You know what I'm saying?
So it's very interesting because it sounds like we keep hitting this theme over and over again, how even in the sciences people are fearful, because it seems like when you put people in white lab coats against men in business suits, the men in business suits win. Dale, I'm going to turn it back over to you for everything that he said. Does it make sense what he was saying?
Oh, it makes absolute sense. And we do have to see this in some ways as a state of execution. We dodged a bullet in this election. We had a party that was saying that they were going to censor misinformation. That misinformation was coming from doctors like this. That information saved millions of lives. That misinformation saved millions of lives here in America during COVID, while mainstream medicine was killing 9 out of 10 people, putting them on a ventilator, giving them remdesivir, which is a failed Ebola drug, and watched people dying of kidney failure. I called a friend of mine that I grew up with, one of my best friends who was a doctor. I said, how many of your patients are dying of kidney failure? He's like, yeah, a lot. COVID. I was like, is COVID, does the spike protein somehow cause kidney failure? He's like, not to my knowledge. I said, then why do you think they're dying of kidney failure? He's like, I can't figure it out. I was like, do you know that remdesivir's side effect is kidney failure? Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, this is the problem, right? And these doctors, they would go along with that protocol, but if you went and talked about ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or vitamin D or, quercetin or any of these things, your license was being pulled. Well, I will say this, for the next 4 years, no license is getting pulled. Robert Kennedy Jr. is in charge. We better take advantage of this moment and get this thing fixed right now.
And just to interject and say something real quick, Del, it's not that you're even a conservative or you're on the right side of the spectrum. When you were growing up, you were actually more in the liberal side.
I am a progressive liberal from Boulder, Colorado, that saw Robert Kennedy Jr. as a hero for being an environmentalist. He's the greatest environmental attorney of all times, and I, was his communications director when he started out as a Democrat.
So what that means is what we're seeing in real time.
Just 2 years ago.
There you go. And what we're seeing in real time, and what that means is you're seeing convergence between those on the left and the right, in the center. Those are religious and non-religious, because health is affecting everyone. It is affecting everyone, not just in America, but across the world. I want to turn it back to Walt. Your thoughts on that?
Again, we have a short period of time. And we have to be aggressive is what we're seeing right now. And we have to make that plan, as that plan is, we got 4 years to do it. It's got to be done within 4 years.
Go ahead, Del. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would just say that it's true. I think we've got to get out of this partisan conversation. You have to recognize that your news is designed, really, I still think Operation Paperclip is in action. I think the CIA is trying to divide us and make us fight each other instead of actually coming together, because it's a divided nation that can control us. They don't want us reaching across the aisle, whether we're Democrats reaching over Republicans or Republicans reaching over to our brothers that are Democrats. They don't want us having conversations about what's really going on here, because if we put the politics aside, we will realize that we all agree on 85 to 90% of what's going on in this country. We are brothers and sisters. We are all born by the same God.
That deserves an applause right there. Amen.
And I can only say this, I'm not in politics. I'm not being political, but I've watched Robert Kennedy Jr. and I've watched President Trump interacting with each other. And I've had my opinions of President Trump, but I will tell you something really spectacular is happening right now. These individuals are seeing themselves in a different light. I really, truly believe that Donald Trump believes that bullet missed him and that he is now supposed to be working for God. He's a different man. I've walked with Robert Kennedy Jr., who talks almost every day about being guided by God to make the next right step. These individuals are staring death in the face. Robert Kennedy Jr. couldn't even get protection from our government, and that protection was designed because his own father was killed. So these men are walking with courage, and they are doing the best that they can to make this world a better place. They only have 4 years, and what they're asking each one of us to do is be courageous. Have no fear. God is in you. God is guiding you to your next step. Please take it.
Gentlemen, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Dr. Walt Cross. You have been a pleasure as always. And Del Bigtree, thank you so much for this panel discussion. It is our privilege to host you. Everyone, please